Thank you, and hello everyone, and welcome again. Uh, Before we begin, can I ask you all a question? Are you happy or not? Yes or no? Louder, please. Well, that's a lot of people who are happy, and I hope it's partly because we organized a lot of fun and joy in the other podium that side. I think Manish ji had come a little late, but we had a lot of fun that side. And this has been happening all evening, and we're very thankful that you all could make it here. Well, formally, on behalf of the India Today Group, I'm delighted to welcome you all to the first ever India Today RPG Happiness Festival being held in these fabulous surroundings. We are deeply honored that Mr. Manish Sisodia, Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, has agreed to deliver the keynote address as well as present the Happiness Awards to the winners. Let's give him a very warm round of applause. And we are also very privileged to have present with us Mr. Anant Goenka, the Managing Director of CIAT, whose enlightened company has collaborated with the India Today Group for this project. His wife is also here, Radha Goenka, and let's give them a very warm round of applause too. Actually, it may be a bit odd talking about happiness and celebrating it when there is so much strife across the world. Whether it is, and you're watching it on your television screens every day, the devastating war that is going on between Ukraine and Russia that is threatening to turn into a third world war. Or in our neighborhood, the serious economic meltdown that has happened in Sri Lanka, and for the first time we're seeing long queues, there's a lot of unrest. And just as we speak in Pakistan, we are seeing political turmoil, an unprecedented political turmoil, where the superstar, cricket superstar turned politician, is meeting his nemesis. Even as we speak, a vote of confidence is happening against him. And let's not forget the pandemic. We seem to be at a very nice phase at the moment. We're all off masks, and hopefully this will stay for a while. But let us not forget the devastation that happened to all our families, not to mention the economies, not just the world economy, but India. And we continue to feel the impacts of the pandemic on us. And yet, this is precisely the reason why India Today Group collaborated with the RPG Group to launch this 9-month campaign, which you all saw, where the quest for happiness quest is what we explored in depth, and the finale is here. We culminated in this. So the idea is, while there are so much of tragedies, negative events that are happening around us, we felt it's very important that we keep our balance and appreciate and recognize the outstanding efforts made by people to provide succor and joy to millions of people in these troubled times. I see a lot of, we have very famous people sitting here, so I don't want to get into the definition of happiness. It has been, as we know, a universal quest from the beginning of time, from humankind itself. And yet, we cannot define it. It cannot be pinned into a few words. It could just be having a morning cup of tea or coffee, which we'll enjoy. Or it could be just walking in the beach, feeling the cool breeze, or as we sit here, if you take a morning walk in the garden, or playing with your children, or watching a movie with your wife or husband, or helping out someone in need. So few can really agree on what constitutes happiness, the spread of it. And as we look, the answer also varies from countries and cultures. The West is often characterized as being materialistic and focused on consumerism as a means of attaining bliss. While the East, particularly Indian philosophy, dismisses worldly pleasures as maya, illusion, and preaches Sat Chit Anand, truth, consciousness, bliss, to attain moksha. And where does money fit into all this? Money, in fact, when we spoke to a lot of people, is really a servant of happiness. Because many of those who have plenty of it, it does not guarantee them bliss just because they possess it. But like money, the pursuit of happiness, you'd be startled to know, is a $4 trillion business across the world. And management experts actually run courses now, expensive courses for corporate and for companies on how to make their employees happy. We've seen universities like Oxford and Harvard have actually experts that research the deeper aspects of happiness. And the tourism business has boomed because there's this huge quest for peace and communion with nature that has seen a lot of people finding places that no one else has discovered before. And the governments too have started taking note of this. If you look at Bhutan, our neighbor, they've pioneered the concept of gross national happiness against GDP. And they have a very very interesting way of looking at economic progress. They actually take into factors. We take a lot of other factors in, all economic indices, but they look at psychological well-being, community vitality, cultural resilience, and very interestingly, how you use your time. I'm very happy that Mr. Sisodia is here, and in Delhi, he started the happiness curriculum in 2018 for various schools. And let's give him a very warm round of applause for that. And thank you. And as we had mentioned earlier, the India Today State of State, which is the benchmark for all performance of states, we've introduced the Happiness Award. And quite obviously, two of the best states got it, Kerala and Goa. I wish we were in a beach resort right now and enjoying the cool breeze of the sea, but this is good enough with the Azad going on. So, finally, what are the mantras of happiness? I mean, this is the search, the quest that all of us want to know. Is there a secret that we can all do? So, we featured in the past 9 months, and you saw some of the issues that were there, inspirational individuals and institutions who, through their actions, have brought happiness not just to themselves, but to plenty of fellow beings. We've also featured religious and spiritual leaders to tell us what constitutes happiness according to their traditions. And we've interviewed psychiatrists and sociologists who have scientifically studied the changes in the brain and the body when people experience happiness and try to define that phenomenon. So it's not just a spiritual sort of experience, they're also looking at it scientifically. And interestingly, one of the conclusions, and there were many conclusions, and I'll ask you to read India Today magazine that we featured, but I'm just going to mention one or two. One of the findings is that it is abnormal, and I repeat the word abnormal, for anyone to be constantly happy without any basis. So if you're not feeling happy today, that's fine. That's pretty normal, actually. And they talk of it being occasionally, to feel negative as fine as well. And say, work on appreciating what you have. Invest in other people. Take some time off to enjoy life and find something that you can work and improve on. There are, as I said, many, many more tips, but these were useful because I started practicing them. You know, one of the good things about being a journalist is you learn so much, and you actually begin to I gave up smoking because of that, because I went and did a feature on people suffering from cancer of the lungs, and I picked up, and I said, this is not something I'm going to do. I gave up smoking. And in this, I decided, let's be happy. There are a lot of negative things that are happening, but we need to focus and get our act together on this. So today, the other thing that we've done is to add a complete dimension to our entire search for happiness. We have assembled here to honor individuals and organizations who have done some incredibly outstanding and inspirational work and have brought joy to many. And we've done it scientifically. This is not something that we just chose people off and said, okay, we'll just give this person the award. We actually had worked out 13 categories. We worked with a major research agency called MDRA, and it's an independent research agency. We asked them to quantify and qualify how these could be selected. And we're very happy to say that we'll be soon presenting awards to these icons of happiness. They're all seated in front of us. And hopefully get them as the evening progresses to give us some more tips to make us happy. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, whatever your troubles, bring the smile back on your faces. with or without mask, keep smiling. Thank you very much.